in the shadows of your spreadsheet. Something's not calculating. Jaq, Elliott, and Dim, investigating the strange, explaining the unexplained. The XL Files. Trust no cell.
Welcome everyone, this is the XL Files episode 2 and I am Jaq Kennedy. We have below me
Diarmuid Early. Hello.
I'm Elliott Paterson.
and our guest today is Lianna Gerrish. Welcome.
Hey everybody, happy to be here.
We're very conveniently located for, passing glasses of wine about in this space, so...
Elliott and I are feeling quite left out, I must say.
I think you need to explain to anyone that isn't in on Rosé Day why you two are in the same location drinking wine.
Rosé. Well, this is Lianna's baby. You can explain Rosé Day?
How does one explain Rosé Day? It's a holiday my friends invented 10 years ago to commemorate the day they drank too much rosé. And so every year, June 15th, to celebrate the holiday, you just need to have a glass of rosé with your friends. So that's what we're doing in Nice, France this year.
Yep, and we definitely did the too much rosé thing yesterday. And this is the first time I've gotten out of bed today.
So yesterday was Rosé Day, and this rosé you're drinking at the minute is Hair of the Dog Rosé.
Yes, this is Hair of the Dog Rosé, and because we ended up with a lot of extra bottles when we decided at some time during the evening that the bottles were running out, I think Johnny and Sean popped out to get more. So we've still got like 5 bottles.
I mean, it wouldn't do to run out on Rosé Day.
I know, right?
Right.
Well, we have this week, our theme for Lianna is Desert Island Lambdas. But before we launch into the theme, it's worth saying congratulations on your case and your perfect score at FMWC this round.
Thank you. Yeah, so exciting. How did you guys find it?
Long. Like, I didn't actually, I didn't dislike it, but like, I had like an hour and a half to spend on the last question, and I don't think I did anything like horribly wrong, but I spent the whole hour and a half plugging away at it, and I probably still needed another 10-20 minutes to finish it. And, I think I'm pretty fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was big. But I liked it.
Wow. Good.
I enjoyed round case 2, which for me is generally the only reason I do FMWC is for the case 2s.
I don't know if you got this as well, but case 2 gave me vibes of your book talk case from last year.
Yes, there's definitely, so the very first band that was listed is named after my cat. It's called Duck and the Pizza Axes, and we do indeed have a pizza axe and a cat called Duck. But there were some other interesting band names, I think, that really kind of made that for me. I liked the Clippy Revival, preemptive for our sojournment later this year. Is that even a word?
Yeah, it could
Okay.
be.
Yeah. We've got Lana Banana Goes Bananas was a great band name. There was Early XCX.
Did you like write all 1,000 band names yourself, or was this an AI collaboration?
I thought ChatGPT could write it for me. And so I saved it for the last minute, thinking it'll take 30 seconds. It took me 5 hours to generate 1,000 band names because ChatGPT did nothing.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think I might need to start paying for ChatGPT to get anything happening.
Thanks, yeah.
Wait, some of my other favorites. Well, what do you have against Tim Roberts? Because you got Tim Roberts and the 1,048,577 through. So you're saying he's going off the charts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pro Tim. Yeah.
And I particularly liked Will I Am Gerritsen.
Yeah.
As well.
I liked Will I Am Gerritsen.
Yeah. That was a great one. We had the Boberg Advisory. It's a lot of the names that we know and love were included in this. You got 5 seconds of Schultz. Min is the max. Vadim never uses F1. Was this a pretty good name there?
Emil's Presley.
Oh, of course, Harry Giles of Humble Direction. Oh, Emil's Presley was a great one. Yeah. Sheetwood Mac, some 41
I feel like
cells.
there was a real risk of, which sounds like maybe Jaq you did, of like getting nerd sniped on this by just going down the rabbit hole of let me just have a look at a couple of these.
And I must admit, I went through them earlier today for the first time.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like I spotted my cat while doing it, took a photo, sent it to Johnny, and said, "Hey, we're in this case." And then proceeded to do the rest of the case. And then today I kind of went back over and started looking at the
I
actual
only
names.
spotted a couple, like I think maybe Red Hot Chilean Dogs
Yeah, that was pretty good.
was one of the ones I had to
Yep.
put in as an answer at some point along the way. So there were a few where like I saw one. Like,
Double take.
Yeah, I tend to be very like, blinkered. I don't look at anything I don't have to.
Oh, yeah, I liked Rage Against the Worksheet as well. That was pretty good. But there were some great names in there, so I'm pretty sure Giles will be quite happy to have been represented, as he always is when he sees his name in a case.
Always.
Yeah.
Did Giles do this one? I felt like he was kind of giving up on FMWC last time round, but maybe that was I think he was just.
What
I don't know
got
if he
him
was
to
just giving
take
him
part?
one off for
Actually, we
his
should
birthday,
probably
or...
just hint that he is in it, because that's what got him to take part on the last one.
Yep.
So maybe if we just drop him a hint that he's in it right before midnight,
And then he can rush
he'll do
for
the
it.
same thing.
I apologise for just running off in the middle there. The neighbourhood kids were so fed up with me not answering the door that they decided to open the front door themselves and shout Elliott up the stairs.
Can I just say that the expression "the neighborhood kids" in my mind makes you seem like, I don't know, you're in your 70s or 80s.
Oh no, it's quite the
Those
opposite.
dirty kids, get off my lawn.
It's the opposite, Dim. They seem to think that I am 6 years old. They ring the doorbell and ask my partner if I'm allowed out to play.
Yes, this
I've
is
tried explaining
true.
to them
Every
I'm
time
in a
I'm on a
work
call
call.
with Elliot, he's like, I'm sorry, I have to go play with the kids now." Just-
I was like, I'm on a work call. I can't come play. They were like, but that's boring. You should have done your work already. And I was like,
So I had people here for a meeting before this, and I said, well, I've got a call at 1. And they were just like still packing some stuff up and about to head out when I joined at the start of this. And we were doing the sound test, and it was like, shout excited, yeah! And I think they were just looking at me like, I'm sorry, you have a what call? This is clearly not work. I'm not sure I described it as a work call. That I don't feel a need to say that, but
It
I
doesn't
definitely
feel
got a funny
particularly
look.
workish.
Implied it.
Although I am about to put you to work, Dim. I am about to put you to work.
Well, I can tell you,
And-
put me to work is right. I have like a page
Right.
of notes.
So
on this topic.
like,
There's so much.
now is the time to unmute me again, if you don't have me muted. But you're going to have to speak fast. So this is going to be Dim speaking as fast as he possibly can. I'm going to hit you up in 3, 2, 1, and there it is. No, don't listen to that. That is completely the wrong one.
Step right up and take the stage. It's time for Dim's Golden Age. Ain't it great? Esports athletes share their flair. Dim's Golden Age beyond compare.
Welcome to Dim's Golden
All
Age.
right, I'm going to talk fast, but legitimately, I think this might have been the golden ageiest month in the golden age so far in the month or so since our last one. So we had 2 FMWC rounds. Feels like a little closer together than they usually come, but never mind. We've already talked about that. We had a Road to Las Vegas round, Julien Lacaze, bit of music, very fun case. Excellent hosting, though I say so myself. Ahem. But also this week, in the middle of the night US time, is going to be round 6, which is also known as the round where people who haven't done all the rounds start catching up because you're only ranked on your top 5. And so Andrew Nye is currently languishing in like 125th and is probably going to be number 1 by the end of the week, unless I do better than I usually do in the middle of the night to try to hold him off. But that's just the regular stuff. Then local chapters, there was a Brazil round, very bloody hard. Bo crushed it. Everybody else maxed out at low 800s. And of course, memorably, the UK versus Jaq beef. It was, I think, round 2 of FMWC UK and round 1 of FMWC Jaq, with dueling Lana banana cases that some people were, volunteered to solve both of at the same time with mixed results. Other free cases, there's been like 6 other, not including the kind of milestone ones. So there was Jettoon based on the game Splatoon. I don't know if any of you have played that. There was the Xlgram, the kind of analyzing the social media network. There was a spreadsheet music one that Hadang did, I think inspired by Julian's. Harry Watson had a challenge based on the Bizarro games he and his friends play, and Kobe made the no reading case, which I thought was going to be, riffing on the sort of visual instructions from Isometric Chaos and Not in Kansas Anymore and all of that. But actually, it's just there are no instructions. It's not visual anything. It's just you have to figure out what the rules are. It's very hard. I've spent like 25 minutes on it and just about got a 3rd level out. There's like two easy ones, and then it just goes crazy. And that's like just the regular free cases, and then there's all these like kind of milestone events. So the FMWC Madagascar Facebook group ran an event for the whole month of May where there was like a free mini case almost every day. I think there were like 27 cases in total, mostly mini, and I think the ones toward the end, I haven't got through them all yet, but the ones toward the end are like full length cases. So the number of like free cases so far this year just doubled in the month of May just from that. And then the other really cool one is Harry Gross has started developing an Excel game. So this started as an idea of like, what if I could, rig up an Excel function so that, or rig up an Excel sheet so that it would block you from using certain functions. So, you have to, look up this value, but you can't use XLOOKUP or match or this or that, and you have to, find weird ways to get around it. But then it has developed into this like full-on role-playing game that opens up within Excel, and you walk around and talk to people, and
I'm the first person you see
solve
as well,
the various
which
challenges
is
they give you without you have to sort of earn your functions as you go. It's like Pokemon style. You get to pick one of 3 to start with, and then you have to use that as creatively as you can to win battles and earn more functions, and then use those. And the other thing, which we can't talk about yet, but there's a very exciting secret project that is going to transform the way that esports are played forever. But I'm not saying anything more about that just yet. But it's very exciting, very secret.
Elliott, what was your function of choice in the first choice?
I've not tried it yet, but I do know that you can choose XLOOKUP, which to me just seems unfair because XLOOKUP is XLOOKUP, it's min, it's max, it's XMatch, it's all of those things.
You would be surprised how much you can get done without actually using any functions. Because the first version that I tested, I think it was like still a bit buggy, and I picked XLOOKUP, but it wouldn't let me use XLOOKUP. So you just had to like do things with only kind of plus and times.
I didn't realize I couldn't use the function, so I was going in there and trying to do a sequence to kind of like just generate like some numbers and get a solution, and then kind of work out the palindrome, and I was like, oh, I can't do that.
I definitely need that. It's very high on the list.
It is. I mean, it is very hard but super fun. Like the first time you like, oh, that's easy. I'll just. Oh no, wait, I can't do that. It deletes your formula as soon as you type it in. You're like, all right, let me try this. Oh no, boom, that's deleted too.
Did you
Okay,
get that one?
maybe
Yeah, I
this
want to.
deleted.
So, have all of us,
By the way, I think
Elliot, have you
guys are
tried
all
this
in it.
the top secret project?
We
I
are.
have.
Has Elliot tried the top secret project? Oh,
I was too slow.
you missed out.
Elliot.
This is why some of us are like attached to our phones for moments like these. It is. I mean, all I can really say is that it is a bit like crack. I don't think Johnny's seen very much of me because any time that I have a moment, I've just gone like, yeah, I'm just going to go over to my laptop now. Like, we arrived in Nice, and there's a picture of me just sitting in a bar at my laptop.
Yeah, I think the second we got access to it, we all canceled client meetings.
I had a
cleared
meeting and
schedules.
had to sit there and put you guys in Discord and what?
Got left at school, not picked up, because we were so into it from the first minute.
It was impressive. Elliot, was your mini maps case? That was last month, so that made it into the last golden age, did it?
Yes, I assume so. But yes, no, I am mourning the death of my PC.
Yeah.
Which is why I've not been very active as of late, and why I've missed out on a bunch of these things, because this laptop that I'm on currently struggles with equals sequence 10. I'm gonna run a session tomorrow. I'm gonna run a session tomorrow for Full Stack Modeler on scan and reduce from this laptop, so we'll see how that goes.
And you do realise, like, Dim's running on, like, an old Surface. Are you still running on that same old Surface there, Dim? Yep. Yeah.
Old reliable.
Yeah,
It's starting to creak a little, but
this is a pretty new laptop, but for some reason, I don't know why. For some reason, it just seems to be working at 99% of its CPU capacity just by being on. Which I think mirrors how I feel at the minute as well. So.
Just get a picture of your face and stick it on the laptop and it can be used interchangeably. I'm going to take us back to our main view where we can discuss our topic of the day, which is desert island lambdas. And this is where, if you were on a hypothetical desert island where you had Excel and you could but you could only use 5 lambdas, and that was the limit of the lambda count of what you could create with lambdas. What were some of the other hypotheticals?
If you were doing Harry Potter challenge and you were allowed to import 5 Gosling lambdas.
That's it. So if you were on a desert island video game, where Giles was talking about his code.
Your formulas.
Yeah. What are the 5 lambdas you would take? So I'm going to start with you, Lianna.
Okay.
Have you had a think about your top favorite lambdas?
Yeah, and it's a tough choice because do you go for ones where you're using them all the time, even if they're not the most flashy, or do you go for the ones where they can do 10 minutes worth of work in 5 seconds, even though you might only pull them out once per season, if that. And my approach was across the board. If I was on this desert island and could only bring 5, I would bring my simple ones that I find myself using every single case. And the first one don't want to talk about is heckling aloud of people's lambda choices.
Yes, 100%.
This one's maybe a little controversial. I would bring my I2M lambda. It just does index match.
Yeah.
But I don't have
That's
to
a lot
type
of
it
typing when you're typing in an index match.
You got to get
or
the
a
comma
nested
on the right
Xlookup
spot.
or something like
You
that.
got to remember the zeros. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's all it does.
Yeah.
But I use that every single case, yeah. And along those... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Lianna, can I guess on your list? Do you have your what did I see in Vegas last year when you were doing isometric?
Easy indirect?
Easy indirect. Yes.
Easy Indirect's not coming to the island. It was on my tier 2 list.
It was yeah.
Because I was like, push comes to shove.
It made my short
Lambdas
list,
here.
but not my final list either.
But yeah, it's like, if I'm on the island, I've got time. I can type in indirect and some quotes.
Alright, she's literally kind of mapped out here with kind of
Yeah.
like a star in one column for her shortlist, and then stars and checks for her like
Yeah, it's
final
on my
list.
tier 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good shot. So
I feel like you're bringing more professionalism to this podcast than we are.
I'm just trying to elevate the Excel
I mean,
podcast.
I'll go around in the same way that you're doing. We can like each take a turn. I'm going to match your I2M, which I do have a copy of, but I've never really used it. But I have used interchangeably an Xlookup 2D by Ben de Leon, which is pretty much
That's
the same
a
thing.
mouthful. You know, that's a lot of letters to be typing in.
If you start typing Xlookup, it's the second option. The drop downs. I also insist on putting underscore by the full name of whoever, because I saw someone do it in Vegas and I thought it looked amazing to see someone's name up when they're getting credited for the lambdas.
That's a nice thing.
Who's doing that? There was someone in Vegas that had that.
I have it in the notes, but my God, I want my formula names to be shorter than that.
I mean, I2M as, you know, for the length of formula name, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did anyone else bring any magic lookup formulas similar to that?
So look, I'll be honest. I have not actually got the definite 5 because some of mine I'm pretty sure are cheating in one way or another. But yeah, so I have one called TLOOKUP, which is kind of similar, except the idea with that is you only give it 3 arguments. So the assumption is that, you know, the row lookup is the top row and the column lookup is the left-hand column, and so you don't have to give it like.
Yeah. Table lookup?
This is not. This is not mine.
What does the T stand for? Is it for like the
Eric.
shape or like? Oh, okay.
So I call mine TLOOKUP because I adapted it from Eric's one of the same name, although mine works a little bit differently. I guess it could be T for 2-dimensional, or it could be T like Lianna just did for like you come across here and then down here. Or, don't know. It seemed like a workable name to me, so I kept it.
Have you got any lookup ones in your arsenal, Elliott?
Would that be a betrayal of your one true love?
I don't know if Xlookup would ever let me use it again if I had a. No, I have to say that despite making an entire video on lambdas and my collection and making it live in that video, I have yet to use a single lambda in anger in the competition.
Ooh.
And that's hard for me to say because I only recently found out what in anger means. But I used to think you meant you were doing it angrily, but apparently it's just use something for its intended purpose. But yeah, no, I've never used. The only time I've used a lambda in the competition is when I've created a lambda within one of the cases. So, for example, what was the one recently that I did well on? The one with all the food at the backstage. What was that called? Tim's gonna.
The restaurant.
Formula Bar and Grill. Yes. Yeah. So I created a lambda within that case for doing a calculation of discounts and stuff, and then put that at source to speed up my calculations. But yeah, that's the only time I've used lambdas in the competition. Since making things like my fee stacks and all that sort of stuff, I found more efficient ways of doing it, and I quite like typing it out long. But
I think I've ended up using lambdas a bit more since I started speedrunning against
yeah.
because then I've like learned to use lambdas like in a really quick kind of way that combined with OA Robot, and a lot of the features that I love in OA Robot and a lot of the lambdas I love tend to get kind of brought out then, and then I'm used to using them repeatedly until I know how to use them pretty fast. So.
Reminds me, I guess we've missed another round to speedrun because it's already the next round again.
It's Okay, so we're doing like 3 on, 3 off, and then 3 on this year, or something like that. That's the current goal. No one else knows,
All
but
good.
we do.
All good.
Sounds good.
Right. So what's next on your?
These next two are kind of related. I've got extract char. That's, it's another baby lambda. It just, splits out a string into its characters. And then another one I use like every single bonus question is count char, counts the number of times something shows up
Yeah.
in a cell or number of cells. So
That one was on my short list as well.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not difficult ones to do, but it's the seconds add up. And for me, for bonuses, I'm already missing 70% of the bonus questions due to poor reading comprehension. So I need all the help I can get in the lambda category. And so that's why count char is coming with me to the island.
Yeah. I used extract numbers. So your extract char is by Harry Gross. I put in extract numbers by Harry Gross, but kind of used in conjunction with extract char because I just can't make myself think in regex yet.
Right. Who's got time to learn regex? Nobody. So, yeah. Extract.
See, I love my regex. I love my regex. That's why.
It's because you don't use lambdas.
4 times, and it's at least 2 regex and 2 regex.
I had my regex up and running before it was in Excel, so.
I remember watching you write the thing to do regex through VBA. I don't know if it was like already public at that point because I did like insider testing on the regex functions. But I was watching it thinking, oh, all this effort to write these very nice regex functions, but they're going to be native in like another 3 weeks.
Right, it's something I've written hundreds of times over the years. I think at that stage I had it on the insider one, but it hadn't been announced it was going to be in the public, which you needed for Vegas. So
yes, it was not out on time for Vegas. I had no regex in my lambdas up to, like through Vegas last year. I've got a couple now.
And I think that's the only thing that if something had come up where regex would have been useful, I would have used that in anger in Vegas. Although to be fair, in Vegas, I don't know how much the three of you remember, but I was a walking zombie. I remember looking at Lanager's ice skating and going, "Oh, aren't these colours pretty?" I was so tired.
I feel like a few people had stories like that. Like, do you remember Lorenzo was, I think, like super sick at the time of the last chance qualifier round?
I was recommending where to get the chicken soup.
Yeah.
He was pretty rough. And then John Akampora was sick and didn't even appear from that. But
that gave us Giles. So.
I mean, the world thanks him for that. I guess.
Star was born that day.
Yeah.
So I will say I have pretty much the same things. Like I have one called Letters and one called Most Of, that are like some of my exactly like what you said, Lianna. Like if I had to write them again, it would take 15-20 seconds. But 15-20 seconds times I use this every single time, it adds up.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though they're very simple, I think those are both coming to the island with me.
Yep. It sounds like we've all got very similar ideas of what to take. Elliott, take notes. These are the ones that you want in your...
Scribbling furiously.
Yeah, your artillery for this.
I'm pretty sure you guys won't have my last two.
I'm pretty sure Lianna and I have the next one in common.
Okay, what do you think it is? Let me see.
It's by Lianna Gerrish. Is the second half of the name of my one. It's Grid to Call.
Yep, I've got that one.
Grid to Call. So, Dim, you've got something equivalent to this as well, don't you?
Yeah, mine is called MapRC. which I think, again, I inherited the name from Bo because it seemed like a perfectly reasonable name.
Yeah, so if you take, usually it works with maps and that sort of thing. If you just go equals grid to call and then you just point it at a range, it turns all of that into one column of all the values in that. And then it also, you generate what row number it's in, what column number it's in, what the address is. I think I may have tweaked yours slightly to do DIM's 1,000,001 kind of numbering system.
smart.
So that's one of the options coming out.
Not complex numbers, I note.
Don't have complex numbers.
It would be complex on Elliott's laptop, which can't go above 10.
Yeah.
It would be complex on my laptop, but yeah, slightly beyond it.
So
Yeah, it's really good
I-
for distancing as well.
So I just struck map RC off because I realized I had forgotten most of that. That was like the last one to not make it on for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have my map RC is based mostly the same as that. So like it lists the addresses, lists the contents, lists the kind of row column reference code. But mine also has an option to give it like a source, and then it'll tell you the distance to everything from that source and sort by that. So you can say like, how many steps.
Are you making notes for your
Making-
lambda
making
adjustment?
notes.
She's
My
literally just
diagonals
opened up her
are-
notes application to go, okay, I'm going to do this. Yep. It has been added. Next month, we will be including that with the grid to column.
It is funny. Every time you lean over, there's suddenly two of you on the screen. You should check out Bo's version as well, because he also has now he has one that can give you the color of the cell and various other things. It's yeah.
Oh, that's really good. And
It's
to be
wild
fair, I
map.
use OA Robot for that. That generally, if I'm doing kind of cell colors, it's all OA Robot these days. So, was that your full list? Because you did them in kind of pairs for a couple of them.
I
You had one more?
had get distance.
Oh, get dist. So that's actually on the same point. So now
Yep.
you can combine your get dist.
Yep. And now I have
With your
room
critical.
for, maybe a max lookup, maybe an arrow one. Arrows can be befuddling.
Yeah.
Yep.
A max lookup.
Yeah, but what is your distance one?
What does
What is
it
a
do? You Yeah, what is a lambda? Get distance, I think you just feed it 2 cells and it tells you the distance, and then you can toggle, do you want Pythagorean distance or whatever? Because it seems like we're in an arms race with the case designers where they want to show us distance but tweak it a little bit so we can't use that lambda. And so, yeah, the more versatile you can make it, the better.
Yeah. I think that's why the lambdas are constantly evolving now. I need to actually get up to date with the training lambda spreadsheet.
Was the max lookup, you said?
Oh, that's another one I use that helps with bonuses that you can, because a lot of times it'll be like, which game number had the highest value or the lowest value, and you can tell it, point it to 2 columns, and it'll return it, and you tell it highest or lowest, and
Right.
yeah, it speeds things up 3 seconds.
So it's really a min-max lookup.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I've got a couple more. One kind of goes back to lookups. I've got one that I call lookup LKP RC, and then an equivalent one with lookup ADD for address. So one returns row column, one returns address. But that just looks for a given value in a range. So it's doing a 2-dimensional lookup in reverse. And finding where you get your first instance of, a certain value. So if you know that there's only one Lianna on a map,
Yep.
you can go find her.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that one's one of my favorites, I think, as well.
Does it give you an array if there's like 5 Liannas?
I think I did have it set up to do that, but I can't tell you offhand. Not in this one. Oh, actually, I've got an example here. So if I look for the number 12, that would probably either return to. Yep, it does.
Hey,
Yep,
you're
it
ready
does.
for the day. We have evil twin sister of the monkey.
Yeah,
Oh, Lana already
Lana
has
and
a sister.
Lianna.
Oh,
There
really?
was a Hannah banana
Yeah.
in one of Harry Slider's training cases, I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
But
Oh,
you know,
man.
their third sister Liana could still be coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should
Lianna
see that
banana.
this year. Sure.
Yeah, I'm loving that. Anything else from Dim? I'm guessing, Elliot, you're not going to come in with any new exciting lambdas that you can't do
I've just
without.
penned a lambda that is equals answers, and it just.
Good one.
I mean, Thomas Marcello wrote that one recently. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to that one later, another time, maybe. All right, so I have to give a couple of honorable mentions before my final ones.
Okay.
Definitely the hardest thing to leave out is I have like a whole set of lambdas for dealing with like addresses as text and for like arrows and moving and all this stuff, but I just could not think of a way to like take one or two of them because like I need the whole set. Like the whole idea is like you can basically convert anything into a number, and then you can kind of add an offset to it for a movement, or you can add a whole set of offsets to it for all the different places you could go or whatever. But like for it to work, you need to be able to go from like addresses to row column codes, from row column codes to addresses, from row column codes to rows to columns, from rows and columns to address. Like you got to have all the different pieces. So that just could not make it to the island, unfortunately. And the other one, which I had on my list until you clarified a little more the nature of the island, was Lambdify, because that was my, wishing for more wishes wish.
Yeah.
That's my function that writes lambdas for me. But apparently we can't have any lambdas. That Harry's macro will delete them. So that one also had to be jettisoned. So my two others that did make it on. Number one, if only in memory of the effect it had, would be my maze lambda, that allowed me my first stomping victory over the robot in the speed run on I'm Just Wild About Harry.
that was. I mean, you've knocked us back so far. We haven't battled you for 2 months, so.
But I can only assume that's because you've been cooking up a hell of a comeback.
Yeah. Totally. That's what we've been doing. I believe one of us has been releasing OA Robot, and the rest of us have been doing.
My last one is also one that I did not write, although I did tweak it a little bit. But Laurie Miller wrote an adapted version of Biro and of Bicol, which, so like Biro and Bicol will operate on each row of the input array, but they can only return one value each, which is very restrictive. So you can do like a reduce VStack thing where you like operate on the first one and then stack that with the next one and stack that with the next one, but it's actually pretty slow for big like lots and lots of VStacks. Gets very slow. So Laurie wrote one that is like based on bisection. So like you kind of recursively call on the top half and the bottom half of the array and then keep kind of zooming in until you get to just one, and that works much faster, but lets you return, like you can return a row of stuff or you can return a block. So like Elliot, you talked about your VStacks one where you can like clone an array a bunch of times. Like for that you could just say by row sequence of 10, and just every time you just return this thing and you get it 10 times, or similar. That one is super handy.
Got something similar.
In my manual way of doing that, probably less efficient than Biro or with the BI. But I've now. This is why I don't use my lambdas. I prefer my if sequence this that than using the VStacks, because it was a little bit faster. But I'm sure Bicol is with its bisection is a little bit more
That wouldn't work on a 2D array, would it? Like that'll expand a row to a block or a column to a block, but I don't think it would clone a block many times. I think.
I think I have the exact same lambda as you, Dim, but it's attributed to someone else.
Laurie is not the only person who has written one of these. I know Peter Bartholomew definitely did.
That's the one that I've got. I've got like Biro by Peter Bartholomew, but that is it's doing the same thing as
It's like Biro lambda symbol or something like that, right?
I don't know. I used the code and I gave it my name, which was Biro _ by Peter Bartholomew, which is probably my longest named lambda.
Too long.
Too long.
Who's got time for that many characters?
Okay, my shortest option out of the... Okay, you can close now. My shortest option out of what I've only got one left, and what I decided to go with, because I'm not comfortable using your RC ref, not 100%. One that I've got is, again, one of yours, and I think it's one of yours, and it's just, well, it was called Col Row, but I don't like it that way around. So
You made it longer.
I made it
column, row, underscore,
by
open paren.
No, it's now called row.
Lianna _ I used it this one time _
It was cloudy that day, underscore.
Yeah, it's just row call. And it's just when I can't be bothered to try and remember the lambdas and the way that Dim sets up his RC ref, I just do a row call. And then I do things by first principles.
Yeah,
So I end up using that one a lot. I think that's everything from our end.
I'm surprised. I thought we'd see some flashy show-off lambdas.
I think my maze is a flat show-off lambda.
That's true.
I mean, that is a
That's
pretty...
true.
So was his lambda fight, to be fair. I mean, it's nearly award-winning.
No, I didn't win the award. I was merely nominated. I think Eric
Yeah,
won.
nearly award-winning.
Nearly, sorry, yes. I can accept nearly award-winning.
It has that Dim stamp on
Oh,
it.
just you wait. I will tell you. I have for like 6+ months now. I have had an idea in mind for the successor to Lambdafy. I haven't had a chance to write it yet, but it's gonna be epic.
But you're not gonna share it with us that we can beat you to the chase.
I'll share it at some
could.
point, but I'm not gonna.
We're
I'm not
not
gonna
gonna
tell you
be
the
on it.
idea before I build it.
Same
My
thing
God.
happening.
I have so many ideas and so little like time to execute. I feel like I say, "Oh, I should build this thing," and then it's like, "Oh, no, Bo just."
I think
did
you've
it."
got even less
then he
time
did
right
it.
now in the golden
Did it.
age because you're too busy doing other people's cases like all the time.
Podcasts.
Yeah, podcasts, speed
Unfortunately,
runs, hundreds of cases.
I am mostly busy with things that are not Excel at the moment. I am like the executor for my neighbor's will who died last year, and that is like that takes a lot of time, as it turns out, to like empty and sell an apartment and consolidate financials and so on. And I'm trying to get it all done before we like go traveling for the summer. So yeah, that's. I've barely even looked at Excel lately.
Wow.
And he's still
Relatively
beating us
speaking,
all.
obviously.
Still.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I know. That's impressive. Elliot and I have mismatching pirate hats today.
Hang on, is mine? Oh yeah, mine is here.
Mine is not the same as yours.
No, I see that. I recognize that smiling face right there, or unsmiling. I guess that's my serious face.
There we go.
You guys, all with the
I was like,
hats.
I knew I had it before the stream, and then
You did because you put in a robot hat and then you put that on.
Yep.
There you go. That's all yours. I was returning that
I've
one
got
to
my
Lianna.
robot
That's
hat
all.
here too.
Nice.
I did a video with Eric the other day, and at the end of it I was like, I'll just wear my robot hats, and in the cupboard I've got a stack of 5 robot hats that we've got for finalists at the UK chapter, and he'd forgotten that I had these, and I just put them on my head and started like peeling them off one after the other, and then he was like, where'd you get so many hats? It's my massive collection. So I believe you guys are going to have a battle again, except I feel like you're going to switch roles, because Xlookie, I feel, would be more leaning towards the lambdas, and Vlookie more leaning towards not using so many lambdas. And Elliott has quite clearly positioned himself in this one in the role of Vlookie by not having any lambdas too.
I think I might just walk out of rage here for being hard with such a name.
I am quite happy to take either side on this one, because I use lambdas lots, but I'm also, at least among the lambda users, I'm probably the one who leans most toward maybe we should ban lambdas. So I could take either side of this one.
Debate yourself.
I'm not sure there's that much of a debate to be had, because we're both very middling on this. I'm all for jumping in deeper with these lambdas, but also I want to be ready for the moment they are banned.
Well, it sounds like you are ready
keeping
for that,
yourself prepped by not using any of the lambdas.
Get myself ready for a solid 20th place.
You can probably unmute me again now, because I'm going to give you... You will not have heard this one yet, or did I play it for you? But we're about to launch into Vlookie versus Xlookie. You guys can have it out as to who's who, but this is it.
In the depths of the grid, 2 brothers dig for truth. Vlookie, seasoned, strategic, fast with the old ways and the new. Xlookie, dynamic, daring, living on the edge of the spill. They don't fight, they compete. This is Vlookie versus Xlookie.
So this is us in Vlookie versus Xlookie mode. And we let them compete now, but generally take part ourselves if we fancy it, you know. I would recommend we sit and have a glass of wine.
And we pick the winner.
Oh, I like that. Fight!
I'm still not sure who's taking which side here.
I was going to say, we haven't really... This is the kind of thing we should really tee up in advance, isn't it? Somebody flip a coin.
I don't have any coins in Europe.
Europe has coins.
Johnny, have you got any European coins over there? Heads or tails? Someone call it.
I don't even know what a tail on a euro coin is, but I'll
Oh,
tail.
actually, do you want the one with like a €2 on it, or the one with something else? Some kind of bird.
Bird.
Let's have tails.
But the bird means what?
It means you lost because I didn't get the bird.
Okay, then Elliot, I guess that means you get to pick your side.
Okay. Cool. I'll go with... What the hell? I'll go with using lambdas. Why not? Let's...
This is like a flip on what's actually happened in today's great. Go for it.
Because I've got to take the Xlookie argument, which is the modern argument. Otherwise,
Yep.
I get tired of the Vlookie brush, and we can't have that. It means that I have to be modern and forward-looking, even though I'm trying to be a dinosaur.
Make your case, young whippersnapper.
I mean, lambdas, as we know, will save you on a desert island. They will make sure that Harry Cross cannot lock you out of anything you want to do. They are the way of the future. They are what is going to allow us to beat Dim as long as he's not allowed to use them. In fact, I think that should be the rule. I think anyone that has won either competition shouldn't be allowed to use lambdas, and the rest.
Oh, we weren't just being specific about Dim at this point in time for once.
No. Who would make a competition that had rules specific to just one named competitor? That would just be cruel, wouldn't it, Jack? Wouldn't it, Elliot?
I had nothing to do with that call. I was too busy
No.
messing things up.
I think that was entirely the Harrys and
I think that was
Benny.
Harry's. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was Harry Siders rather than Russell Watson. Actually, no, it was Benny. We'll blame Benny.
It was totally Benny.
We all know I am beat Benny. So, this very thing accusing me of using VLOOKUP. But yeah, I think. Is there not something in the rules? I can't remember. Is there not something in the rules about the previous winner of MEWC not being allowed to use the most modern version?
Is there?
No, there's not.
There
Not
used
that
to
I would
be.
care, because I've never won MEWC. So
No, there used to be. Certainly last year, because I went through the rules last year. Certainly last year, MEWC, there was something in the rules about. I'm going to look this up while you're making your
I
argument.
don't think I've reread the rules since 2021.
Oh, blimey, they've got a new website now, don't they? Anyone know the new website?
XLesports.com, I think.
XLesports.com. Right.
There might be a dash in between XL and eSports. Oh yeah, no, that went somewhere totally different. Maybe it's XL dash eSports.
I think this is the UK. This is the UK.
Which
Yes, it's XL-esports.com.
This is the UK. This is redirecting me to the UK.
they got renamed to Giant X.
Yeah. That's what it redirects me to Giant X or GG. Yeah. So XL-esports.com. Right.
Okay, you read those while Dim gives us an argument for like killing lambdas.
Look, the argument for killing lambdas is pretty simple. The better the meta gets with lambdas, the harder it is to compete without lambdas. And like I don't mind. Like I can lambda with the best of them. I don't think I'm at a competitive disadvantage for having lambdas. But if you want to attract new people to the competition, and it's like, sure, come join the competition. It's great fun. Also, if you haven't done, at least 3 months of intensive prep, there's some lambdas out there, but you'll have to, research them, customize them, practice with them before you can even attempt to use them. Like, that's not a way to welcome people in. So, yeah, I'm from a perspective of trying to bring new people in. I think there's something to be said for no lambdas, or maybe like, I like to write lambdas in the prep time in like the Road to Las Vegas rounds where you get to see the video and then, you have 5 minutes before you need to start the case. Like, bit of music, write a lambda that, gives you the first 4 characters and converts that to a number and gives you the last 8 characters and whatever. Like small, simple things like that. I think great, and because you don't have to put in the research time beforehand. But yeah, if it's like the mazes are a good example, right? Like the more advanced the maze lambdas get, the wackier the mazes people are going to build. And the first time that somebody tries to solve, a crazy n-dimensional maze with 7 different metrics for distance and, certain turns only allowed on a Tuesday and whatever, without lambdas that have been built up to like right before the, previous step in the arms race, it's just impossible. And people will keep making mazes harder to reflect the fact that people keep making better maze lambdas, and similar, like, trying to work with addresses and arrows and stuff without custom lambdas, you're like 50% slower. But that is how new people do the tournament. And so yeah, I think it's better, more welcoming to just say no.
I must admit, from my perspective, when I'm testing our cases, I always try to do it lambda free, because I feel like you should be able to finish a case without having lambdas. Except it always gets. I've never finished a case in a given time in my life, except when I'm speed running it, and I've tried it like 50 times in a row because I'm obsessive about making sure I beat Dim.
Which you usually do, to be fair.
We'll see. We'll have to cut out lambdas and see how we get on.
So what do we
What are you
think? What do we
thinking?
think?
I mean, I'm kind of leaning into VLookie with this one because I'm also thinking, I feel like there should be some balance in between the two. Like, not disallow lambdas, but we should have a desert island lambda rule whereby you're only allowed 5 lambdas in your submission workbook. Your face. Whether that's ones that you've written on the go. Yeah.
I think one of the problems there, though, is just the fact that I could decide that I mean, this is true anyway, but I could decide I'm going to go and really just learn that really complicated maze lambda and just regurgitate it. And then it becomes, not that there's anything wrong with that. I think there's somebody in the UK qualifiers who's already qualified who is a memory champion. But then risks becoming a memory champion position.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like a total of 5 lambdas that are either pre-written or written on the go. So,
Written on the go.
so you can write them on the go or you can preload them.
But then anything written on the go doesn't need to be in a lambda anyway. The lambda just is shortening
Packages it.
Yeah, but I do tend to use OA Robot to kind of create stuff on the go that I can then reuse in later levels. Which is...
Not gonna lie, if you made the rule about only 5 lambdas, I would find a way to roll most of my lambdas into 5
lambdas. It's like equals map, and it does everything that all of your map lambdas do.
Yeah, but you're just getting into equals aggregate function territory there, aren't you? Where you press 1 for this, press 2 for this, press 3 for this, and then go full 5G lambdas and have a argument.
And that's where the memory really comes in, because you need to remember what all of your options were. What's your thinking on this?
Personally, I don't care that much either way, but I think from a perspective of the organization's goal is to grow and get bigger. And it's harder to do that when the announcers are just scratching their heads at what the hell people have.
That is why I name my lambdas really long names, so that the organizers, in the event that I ever end up on the stage,
which you will this year,
they can see what the hell I'm using. Well, actually, that's why I put it in Compbot, so that it will end up on the stage anyway from someone else.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I think. I mean, in my head, VLookie's winning this one.
I think I agree.
Yeah. Who won last time? Just out of curiosity, do we actually make a decision on that?
It was Xlookup versus VLookup, so Xlookup.
Oh well, yeah. Okay, that's fine. There's no way. I mean, there's a very specific, like, even the argument for VLookup last time was like, yeah, well, Xlookup is a superior function, but there are moments where you could use VLookup.
Yeah, Dim's argument was there are a handful of select cases where VLookup is better. I will say I've now.
I argue against the position that I hear all the time, including from you, that nobody should ever use VLookup. I'm not saying that you should use only VLookup and kick out XLookup or whatever.
But Dim, I think I heard him saying there that he has learned how to use VLookup.
Oh no, I still don't know how to use it.
Oh, okay.
I yielded out of that. Perhaps there were a couple of places where that was more useful, but then I
don't know if you've noticed. Maybe you haven't seen with your broken computer, but I think every time I've used VLookup in one of my videos since then, I have shouted something like "See Elliott, see."
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that. I'm just like, Elliott. You just suddenly, like, he'll be like, mumble, Elliott, mumble.
Right, I have been through Wayback Machine here, trying to find old versions of the rules, and I can't find anything. I am sure I read something at some stage that I'm sure I read something at some stage that in the final, whoever the previous defending champion was had to use an older version of XL. I cannot find that anywhere.
You definitely
it's
made
not
that
real.
I feel like this is where you need to have like someone with an impeccable memory to ask about that question.
Well, no, because that's why I'm on Wayback Machine. But even going back to when I would have been going over the rules, the logged versions of the rules then. I think we should bring that rule in, at least not that rule in and of itself, but anyone that has come top X in whatever should have more.
No,
limits on their
only number one. Only number one. Michael and Andrew can be handicapped.
I feel like there should be like a tiered usage.
Yeah.
You can have unlimited lambdas below a certain point.
Anyone with an A in their first name.
Right, hang on a second. This is not fair on any of it. I've only got 3 letters.
But I did hold up my Irish passport the other week, so...
Yeah. Right, I am switching us
Vote
back.
among the 4 of us on that rule right now. All in favor of restrictions on people with an A in their first name? Oh, good. Defeated.
Just a downvote.
So close.
Right, I'm switching us back to main view to say goodbye because we are running out of time over here. So thank you, Lianna, for joining us today. That's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I'm getting kind of hungry, so maybe we could go out for a meal or something now.
Yeah, get some more wine.
More wine, more lambdas. What else could you need?
Yeah. Well, I think we might finish it off with some top secret challenging.
Top secret testing.
Top secret testing, yeah, that we're not talking about just yet.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously after a certain amount more wine. But that is us from Nice saying goodbye. So, goodbye from Nice.
Goodbye from New York.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye from England, which is actually sunny. There we go.